Kate, why don't you tell us a bit about your role with the University of Michigan?
Oh, hi, Rod. Yeah, thank you. My name is Kate Fitzgerald, and I'm a child and adolescent psychiatrist. I work at the University of Michigan studying and treating kids who have anxiety or obsessive compulsive disorder. I also serve there as the academic director of child and adolescent psychiatry, which means helping to foster research in our department so we can make better treatments to help more kids feel better and overcome problems like anxiety.
Thanks, Kate. How about you, Molly? What do you do over at Michigan Medicine?
Yeah. Hi, Rod. Thanks so much for having us. So I'm a clinical social worker by training, and recently I had the opportunity to join Kate's teams and manage some of her research projects. So I see kids and families for therapy a couple days a week, and then I work on her research projects the other few days a week, which has been really exciting to kind of combine clinical, what we see on a daily basis, with bigger picture ideas and how we can reach more kids and families.
Great. That sounds like you both have some very interesting work, and I see how that relates to our organization, because we're dealing with a lot of youth under the age of 17, and one of the big things that's going on with them right now is back to school.
Mm.
Kate, what are some of those mental experiences that children are going through right now as they look at going back to school?
Well, that's a fantastic question. And I think going back to school is always fraught with a little
Mm.
bit of anxiety. You know, it's meeting brand new teachers, it may be meeting new friends. Maybe, all of them are strangers to you if you're a new kid in a new town.
Mhm.
But I think in this day and age with the pandemic going on, there is sort of even a higher level of anxiety related to more uncertainty. And I think this may affect kids a little bit differently, whether they're going back to in-person school or whether they're going to remote school. I think most of us have been quarantined to some degree since March. So kids who are going back to in-person school may be feeling very nervous about leaving the house, leaving their mom and dad, who
Mm.
they've been closer with, through these recent months, and kind of the return of those academic pressures, which maybe didn't feel as intense in the remote learning setting.
Mhm.
On the flip side, kids who are doing remote learning, I think many of them are suffering a sense of loss, sort of feeling like, gee, I'm not going to get to see my friends from last year. If they're a senior, what about senior prom? Is that even going to happen? If they're a sixth grader, hey, do I get to move on from elementary to middle school?
Mhm.
And I think across both groups of kids, there's just so much uncertainty, which, whether or not you've experienced anxiety in the past, I think most of us are experiencing a little bit of it now.
I remember growing up, my only fear as a kid was how much gel I put in my hair to look cool. I remember those exact days going to school. Your first day had to be your cool day. You got your brand new jeans and your hair slicked back. But that doesn't mean there wasn't stress on my parents who,
Mhm.
whether I was taking a bus or worried about me. Molly, to that point,
Mm.
what type of mental challenges do our parents facing at this time of sending their kids back to school?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think for parents, there's so much uncertainty, and certainly for young people, there has been so much uncertainty in the last 6 months. But I think for parents, they're thinking about bigger picture worries too, right? So unemployment or sickness of loved ones, and how will we survive this pandemic? How long will it last? Bigger picture worries like that. And that now it's coinciding with kiddos going back to school. And again, whether it's virtual learning, does that mean balancing work from home? Am I leaving my kids at home to learn on their own while I have to go into my job? Or are my kids going back in person? And as Kate was mentioning, like, is that such a big step for them? How are they going to be able to manage it? Let alone, are they going to get sick? Or is school going to shut down in a month because of sickness? So I think these levels of uncertainty for parents, that have been going on for the last 6 months are going to be even more exacerbated as school begins. And I think it brings up these bigger cognitive concerns parents always have, right? And like this all or nothing thinking, like it's got to be perfect or it's not even going to be worth it, or even catastrophic thinking, like we automatically go to the worst case scenario. And where's the middle ground? between what's realistic and what's actually going on.
And I guess the big challenge is how do we deal with it? How do we handle some of the stress and anxiety? Kate, what can children and parents do to help manage that?
Well, I think there are a couple just kind of practical tips, and these would serve a family in relation to school at any time, but maybe especially now. And that is breaking down sort of assignments into bite-sized pieces. It can feel pretty overwhelming if you've been home for the last, I mean, normally summer's 3 months. Here it's probably been about 6 months to, oh my gosh, and now I have to study for a test or write an essay or learn some brand new idea. If it's possible to break things into bite-sized pieces, I think that can be helpful. Also, kind of having some flexibility around thinking, yes, some degree of routine helps. You know, a regular bedtime, getting to bed, a quiet study space where you know you can really focus and get your work done, but also acknowledging that this is a time of great change and we're learning a little bit every day, and sort of having, I guess, the mental space to say, and that's okay if we don't have it figured out all up front, and keeping lines of communication very open between kids, between parents, and between teachers, because they're learning too.